Rules of engagement will be, please ask questions from the briefings that you had today, and if it is a loss or case-specific question, to get with your analyst or with your service casualty officer. Raise your hand, and we'll come and bring the microphone to you. And also, while we wait for the first hand to come up, just a reminder on surveys, please fill out your survey so that we can gain your feedback to make us better as we move forward.
Do we give the survey to you?
You can give it to me, yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you, sir.
What do you consider to be your biggest challenge? And that could be anything from budget to work in perhaps specific countries. I'm most familiar with Laos, but it could even be equipment failure in the labs. Just what do you consider to be your biggest challenge?
We all need to answer this question.
Ma'am, I would say, from my perspective, time. As I said in my presentation this morning, witnesses are passing away. Those were, as I said, that 10-year-old French child who saw that B-17 crash, 70 or almost 90. Vietnam veterans, even the youngest Vietnam veterans now, are well into their late 60s, into their 70s. Korea, 80s into 90s. World War II veterans, and I know we had a couple here today, God bless them and God love them, into their 90s. So I would say time. It's working against us.
Yeah, so I'll say the same thing that he said about the witnesses. So I'm one of the field investigators that goes to do investigations to find sites. I work mostly in the Mediterranean since World War II, and like Jack said, we're missing out on veterans. I've shown up in towns, and the mayor has told me the guy in town, the old guy in town who knew everything about what happened during the war died 3 weeks ago. I missed him by 3 weeks, and he could have taken us exactly where the plane crashed. We can still find it through church records or cemetery records or things like that, but we're missing out on witnesses really quickly for World War II.
So for us in the DNA lab, I'm going to call it the CSI effect. You know, when you get the crime scene investigative TV series that have been on over a decade, and they go and they show you this and they can have a DNA result in 45 minutes. As I told you, we're getting there. That just started this year in the rapid DNA. But that's crime scene samples. That's stuff that's been done in the last year. For me, a missing persons case that's 10 years in the environment, that doesn't even come into my past accounting section. That stays in my current day. I can get results from that. So it's the CSI effect and the misconception that I have commercial labs out there. They're like, oh yeah, we can do that. No, you can't. You've only worked with this type of a sample, but they'll tell everyone, oh no, we can do this. And they play on the CSI effect. So that's my biggest hurdle right there is getting just the facts out there. So.
I guess I'll bring it home. For me, personally, these guys aren't involved in this piece, but for me, it's keeping up. So keeping up with the increase in operations, keeping up with new technology, and oh man, we need to build an isotope lab. Can we have one? You know, so trying to keep up and resource all of the great ideas because they're important, and they're not just things that they're making up because they're fun toys to have. They're all important requests and requirements. And so resourcing and just, for me personally, keeping up with them has been my biggest challenge. But in my mind, that's a good challenge to have. I'd rather them be aggressive, fast-moving, dedicated, and then I'm the one catching up to them, not vice versa. Because if it's vice versa, then we have a problem. So I would think that's my biggest challenge.
I have a question. How do you...
Ma'am, if you can just hold 1 sec, we'll bring the microphone to you.
I don't know to who to direct this, but how do you feel like when they brought those 55 boxes and then And if you open it, how do you feel like? Do you get nervous? Do you get emotional when you see the remains? I'm just curious.
There is always an underlying sense of reverence that we have anytime that remains are involved, wherever we see them in any context. The honest truth is we get excited. We get really excited because we now have more remains that are going to go home to families, and more families are going to get answers. Coming to meet you all is the best part of the job. The second best part of the job is when one of the guys on my crew in the field hollers my name real loud, and he won't step away from the screening station, and he's got his hand like this. I teach my guys, if you find what you think remains in screens, you do not walk away from the screens. Do not walk to come find me. I will come to you. And they're standing there, and they've got big eyes. They got their hand held like this, and you go over and they open it up. There's a tooth in there. And you know right there, families get an answer. You get really, really excited in the field. And then you immediately put it in a Ziploc baggie, like triple check to make sure it's fully shut.
I don't know if this is really directed to you folks, but my younger brother is missing. I was also in Vietnam, but my mother's still alive at 96, and she's still hoping. And every year it seemed like she was getting a letter from Washington stating, I think it was around Christmas time with a Christmas card. So my mother always knew that they were still looking. But for some reason, in the last couple of years, those cards have stopped. So now my mother's wondering, are they still looking or still anything going on? And that's the reason why I came today, is to let her know that they are still looking. But I was just wondering why those cards stopped coming on Christmas.
I could take them. All right, so what has happened with that as we transition from one administration to the next? That kind of got misplaced as far as the Christmas cards going out. That has been addressed up higher to the administration. I can't tell you specifically where that is, but the administration, again, it was taken to the administration for reference and for action moving forward. Does that answer your question, sir?
Yes.
One of the gifts that some of these missing men have and women have given us is to connect families that are, you know, in disparate places, who wouldn't know each other, who through their interest in finding this man have managed to connect as families. And it's just a great thing. My suggestion is anything you can do to make it easier for those people that are looking for the same person to know who each other are would be a great, a valuable thing, I think, for most of the people that are in our situation.
So earlier in the day, I believe the funding for the program was addressed, but as I was sitting here this afternoon, I'm kind of curious with the things that are going on in Washington and all this pull and push about dollars. How do you feel that the funding that has been approved for this year, is it appropriate? Are you feeling maybe a clinch with that? I'd just like to have an overall view of the funding that you're getting from Washington.
So the, excuse me, the funding for this year is solid, 100% ironclad. We have not had anyone from the administration or any of the other U.S. government organizations attempting to take our money back. So as of right now, like we used to say in the Army, at this date time group meeting, right now, this day, our budget is solid and we are moving forward with our operations and all the other accounting mission sets that we're that we said we were going to execute for FY19. So from now till September, we're good. We're good. And so I thank you for you all writing your congressmen and women and really helping tell the story about how important this mission is, and most importantly, how dedicated we are and how we need our funding on time at the beginning of the year so that we can do all of those missions that I showed on that slide for FY19, and so we need the same thing for FY20. Thank you for that question.
Yes, you were mentioning a lot of people are getting on in years, a lot of people are passing away, so it's a race against time. Has there ever been any thought of trying to do a video recording of an interview with these people, so at least you have something that you can turn to once they are no longer with us?
Now, is that in reference to when we go to the field and talk to witnesses or to family members? Okay.
Yeah, so there's a difference between you know, a World War II veteran and someone in the field in a tiny commune in Italy or something. So the Library of Congress does have a folk life history project. They've been running that for years. They've been interviewing veterans of past wars, and they're all in video and audio recorded at the Library of Congress. And some of us have gone over there and gone through those tapes, gone through those interviews, and a lot of those World War II vets, you know, they've already gone. The issue is it's not us doing the interview. So when we're doing a witness interview, we have a very specific line of questioning about where something happened based on what we know, what we're looking for there. And those kinds of questions don't get asked when we're not the ones doing the asking, if that makes sense. So we could do that, but it really have to be us doing the video taping to get the answers we're looking for, to make sure that the right questions are getting asked. Because sometimes somebody answers a question and they answer it in a way that leads to another question that makes sense for us, but it wouldn't make sense for anybody that doesn't do this.
Okay, I'm going to take a question from Facebook Live. It's from John, and his question is, how can I find volunteer opportunities? So I'll go ahead and take that. We do have someone in so here's my recommendation to everybody, because I know, remember earlier in the day when I asked everybody to go up and like us on Facebook? Well, I'm also making the recommendation to go to our DPAA.mil, M-I-L, website. And when you're on that website, there's a button that says Families. Click on the Families button, and that will take you to what we call FamWeb. So it's a website that has unaccounted for service member and DoD personnel profiles, as well as an Ask a Question. So you can ask a question. So John, this is to you. So go to that site, ask us a question, and then we can get back to you. Now, to that, as family members, just a reminder, y'all don't have to go to that button. It's a good reference, but also for any question that you do have, to reach out to your service casualty officer as that point of contact to make sure that we answer your questions.
Fern, this is for you. With regard to the funding of DPAA, is that a part of the defense appropriations bill that's submitted annually, or is it a separate mandate of Congress and funded separately?
It's part of Department of Defense. Yes, sir.
I don't have a question. I just want to thank all of you for what you're doing and to help us find our loved ones. And I really appreciate you.
Thank you.
All right, so if there are no other questions, if we can have a round of applause for our speakers today. All right, so in closing, just a couple things. Number one, I'm going to
remind about the surveys again, and you can bring them up to me and I'll gladly take them. And then also remember, one of the first things that I said during the day, but before I get there, total today, Facebook Live reached actual views nearly 2,000 people tuned in and watched. And we were able to reach nearly 5,000 people beyond this room. So that's,
to me, that's a wonderful story. So back to what I talked about earlier in the day, it's that two-way conversation. Please keep the two-way conversation going. Please continue the education moving forward so that we can tell everybody about what we are doing to honor your loved ones. So with that, folks, drive safely. Have a wonderful rest of the weekend, and God.